Has just come a children's show that's turning that theory on its head. Wallace and Gromit are two gritty, plasticine characters with proud, earthy, working-class values. They've won for creator Nick Park 3 Academy Awards and won the hearts of parents and children alike. Wallace and Gromit live at number 62 West Willoughby Street in an unnamed industrial town somewhere in deepest Lancashire. The time is now. A man called Nick Park was brought into being the world's most popular plasticine stars.
And it's really funny because I think once you become famous, when you begin and nobody knows you, it's like everyone wants to know about you and stuff.
It's my experience that when people crack the big time in showbiz, usually you can't shut them up.
I'm sorry, I can't remember. I had a thought and I can't remember what it was.
But Nick Park is painfully shy.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I remember now. Oh, sorry. Wasting film, aren't we?
In the end, we persevere, if only because Wallace and Gromit communicate so brilliantly, almost without words. So far, Nick has produced 3 films, all of them hugely successful. But this is his favourite. It's called The Wrong Trousers.
What I love is the bit where Gromit follows the penguin to the museum. The penguin's casing the museum, and it's very kind of film noir and very much like a lot of movies that I've watched on Sunday afternoons.
Behind the scenes, we learn what we'd never know by merely watching these films, just how painstakingly they're made.
I was about to say the of cracking.
The animator proceeds with the speed of a glacier.
I'm going to have to take the teeth out for this. It's a bit like being a dentist, actually.
I soon realised I was not going to be making the definitive movie about the making of Wallace and Gromit. Life was not long enough. Animation is anything but animated.
And this is where I am in danger of moving the entire set.
Every filmic moment is created by the slightest manipulation of the plasticine 25 times every second.
Not cracking toast, Gromit.
If I want to make Wallace say a word, like, for example, in Cracking Toast, Gromit, the word toast, takes about 8 of these pictures. That means I've got to do 8 moves to actually make Wallace just say the word toast.
Toast.
No wonder he's a man of few words. By the end of a flat-out 12-hour day, Nick Park will have produced about 3 seconds of film, and that's on a good day.
Is it great fun doing this?
Yes, it is, actually. I mean, I love it. It's all I've ever done, actually, except for 6 weeks in a chicken packing factory, but...
Never had a real job?
I've never had a real job, actually. Not a proper job. I'm very happy doing this, but it is a lot of blood and sweat and tears goes into it. It's not all fun. An awful lot of sacrifice and effort goes in.
So, it sounds quite painful, actually.
Yeah, it is, actually. I mean, it's like, I think it's probably like, well, I don't know really, but it's probably like giving birth.
Not that Nick Park always worked at his present pace of 3 seconds a day. Far from it. He must be speeding up, because his first half-hour film, A Grand Day Out, took 6 years to make.
I think that's the great thing about animation, is that you can make anything in your imagination come to life, and it may not work in the real world, but you can actually give it a reality and make make it work in a very complete world, so it's very believable.
Nick Park grew up in Preston, Lancashire, a grimy northern industrial town looking a lot like the set of Wallace and Gromit. Art imitates life. Nick's dad, Robert, was an amateur inventor, just like Wallace.
Look, I know I've only just met you, and this is a dreadful liberty, but I mean, there is a resemblance, isn't there?
I feel there is.
Yeah. There's no question what the prototype, where it came from.
What a shame.
Can you see that?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I feel it. When I see him on film, I think I can see a bit of something when I see myself in the mirror.
Oh, yes. When you meet Mum and Dad, you can understand how film became Nick's most eloquent form of expression.
Celia, you're Gwendolyn, aren't you?
Well, they say so. I think it's the two front teeth that do it. I hope it's not the green eyeshadow.
These are some of my very first films. Shot on Standard 8. What's this? 1973. This is called Rat and the Beanstalk.
Nick is 37. He's been making films for almost 25 years. It all began at age 13 with an 8mm home movie camera. His studio then was a tiny backyard in Preston.
This was my first ever animation. The first time I'd ever seen anything move. And there he goes up the beanstalk. Reaches the clouds. As you see, the sun went behind the clouds there. That's why it goes dark. And along comes the giant. There he is. Slips. Bit of a cameo. The end. Actually, that's not as bad as I thought.
The Oscar goes to Close Shape. Nick Park.
Nick Park is one of filmmaking's most decorated heroes. Incredibly, he's won 3 Academy Awards for his animation. But whatever the plaudits, animation remains an obscure and seldom recognised art. As Nick's manager, Arthur Sheriff, tells it, it took something more to make Wallace and Gromit a big news story in America.
I turned to Nick, Nick turned to me and I said, have you got them? He said, no, you have, and you went running down 54th Street, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean...
It might look like a publicity stunt, but Arthur swears it was true. The plasticine duo really were lost somewhere in Manhattan.
The drama began on Saturday night, when the models were accidentally left in the back of a taxi.
It was treated like the crown jewels had gone missing. And when they got to hear of how the British press were treating it, you know, as if it was the crown jewels going missing, they then just leapt onto it. And
Wallace and Gromit had cracked it in the USA. Overnight, they sold 2 million videos. When they returned to Britain, everyone wanted to know them.
Is that the normal size of it?
The unassuming animator went from being normally overwhelmed to being completely overwhelmed.
I mean, I've always been pretty shy and not that confident with talking to all kinds of people. And I'm used to being the one that's ignored. And so now to be the person who where even these kind of big Hollywood people want to speak to me is very funny. You know, I find it really hard to get used to. It's like the first time people actually lined up to get my autograph, I was thinking, do they really want it? You know, I couldn't handle it really.
You really wanted to sign Wallace or Gromit, did you?
Yeah.
Wallace, help me!
Don't worry, Gwendoline. Everything's under control.
Today, Hollywood is calling Nick Park. Steven Spielberg has offered him a multi-million-dollar budget to make a movie for the big screen.
Can you give us a hint of what the big American Hollywood film might be about?
Get yourselves organised.
I mean, I should think it won't be far from Wallace and Gromit. You know, I think it'll feel very much to people like the same kind of thing. Though we're really trying something else out here as well. And, you know, it'll be, there's a thriller aspect to it, and it's been very vague here.
Well, I've heard rumours that it's going to be not just millions of dollars, but tens of millions of dollars. Does that scare you, that kind of money?
It is, but I don't understand money very well, you know.
It's just an extra few nothings.
Yeah.
Well, no matter how much money they throw at you, you can't do your work any faster.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when we say we can't do it, I don't think they quite understand it. You know, but we're prepared to pay dollars.
When you're a 3-second-a-day man, it's pretty hard to get worked up into a frenzy of excitement. No matter how much money and fame is offered, we're left with the feeling animation will always remain painstaking and lonely work.
I think on a film that takes you that long to shoot, you get sick of it. You get sick of the film. Though every shot is a new day, it's a new scene, it's fresh every day, and you've been looking forward to getting to that bit for a long time. It's just so arduous, the whole thing.
I'm sure when you're on it, you've got no time for anything else. So how do girlfriends cope?
Not very well.
So there's no Mrs. Park on the horizon?
No, there isn't. No, I'm afraid not.
Don't worry, Gromit. I'm right behind you.
You must be enormously proud of him.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Thankful as well.
Thankful?
Yeah, thankful that we have a son like him. Proud that we have him. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what would Wallace say?
Everything's under control, Gromit. Yes.
That's a boy, Gromit, lad. Well done. We did it. Ha ha.